cable is standard, whether it's armored's got a couple more steps to it. But whether this would be all dielectric, ADSS or all dielectric self-support, a drop fiber, there are always little layers of there's steps involved to opening it up. So far there's nothing unique about what we're doing, what we have here. What is going to be unique though, and just let me get rid of these filler tubes here. Is our buffer tubes themselves. So your contractor, I guarantee, is going to be happy to work with this because it's the most forgiving fiber that anybody's ever worked with. You can almost tie this in a knot and it won't break. Bend-in sensitive fiber, so in a micro, it's going to have a less tendency to micro bend and show a loss. It's made to be wrapped around your finger several times and not show any loss. So it's going to be so forgiving. It's going to be a joy to I'd say the biggest fear that the splicers are going to have is the small closures, because they're all used to these big monstrosity of closures out there. When they see these, they're going to have a little bit of a shock, but once they see this fiber that you're going to be using, they're going to be, oh, this is easy. This is more like working with like a pigtail or a jumper, a fiber jumper. So it's very forgiving. So that's one feature. The other feature is the buffer tube just pulls off. I don't need a tool to access the fiber. So the fiber is going to be so easy to work with because they can just peel that buffer tube back.
So
just peels off.
We probably need something in our spec that these guys are trained with this product. Because not everybody.
In our contract, you mean?
Well, in my mind here, as we move forward, I know it's a new product. I know we're going to be working and coordinating with the contractor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of what my plan is. That's why I know I'm going to be back down. When we get materials on the ground and the contractor is here, we're going to go over all this. They're going to love it. I haven't shown this to anybody that hasn't gone, just been like, wow, no way. They see how much easier life's going to get out.
Yeah.
So your 24 is going to be the same way. They won't have a problem with it. It's just so forgiving and easy to work with. And
Now this is your 4-string, right?
it's 48, 4 buffer tubes. Yeah. Right here, I have about 34 inches is what I opened up, slacked storage in there, and then routed that whole buffer up here.
It's got oil inside it, huh?
A little bit of gel, but just enough to keep the fibers tame.
God, this thing is little. Holy crap, that's one fiber, looks like a hair.
Mm-hmm.
And this is gonna carry all of our internet? Come on, get no way.
You could have pretty much the entire town on one fiber.
Look at that. That's amazing.
That's kind of why Fibersmith keeps saying, if we run into a situation where we put 24 in, and we just, that's all we did. And then we like, oh, wow, a hospital's moving in and we've got to and they're building a big subdivision. Their point is take that fiber, put in a cabinet.
Yeah.
Drop yourself a cabinet, get yourself a new GPON box
Yeah,
in there,
a whole
and go to the whole, and now you start it all over.
Dedicate
One of those
away.
fibers. That's it.
Yeah.
They're concerned about underbuild. They have never had to rip out much because they're like, all I got to do is put in a cabinet. I mean, at course it's $15,000-$20,000 cabinet equipment.
Oh, sure.
But their point is just you're not having to start over. You take one of those and we're starting over.
One strand to an OLT, and you've got a whole new world of possibilities.
I'm telling you right now, I understand why you don't splice anymore.
Look at that.
That sucker's tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See how little that is? It's smaller than that blue line.
I could show you some 200 micron fiber. I have some of that right here.
Man.
No, this is 250
Really? This
micron.
is next to
It's
nothing.
288.
That's
250 micron.
It's impressive that our country is manufacturing those products now. Amazing.
It's exclusive to us. We've worked with the manufacturer to develop that. I don't know, are there other companies out there?
Trademarks.
I didn't think so.
STL brought out a buffer tube similar, but I've worked with that buffer tube. It ain't that.
There are going to be other companies that are going to
Yeah.
Try to duplicate.
find out about this, and they're going to try to develop it on their own. They absolutely will.
So you guys put guards on every installation, keep them away?
Oh, they see us at the trade shows, you know,
Too
they
late.
walk around. I mean, typical trade show, we'll get set up and spend an hour or two talking to vendors and other exhibitors that are interested or, you know, curious, or competitors.
There is a glass out there that is a G657B3 glass. That thing does not break for any reason, but it is super expensive. So
There will be
technology
some,
moves very fast.
Yeah.
Training involved, as you can tell, because you could put your nails in there too much and pinch and pull and risk breaking a fiber. But it's like anything, they've got to get the feel for it.
Yeah, I think we've gotta make a comment about training. Somewhere.
We do in the contract, we just don't in the RFP. But the contract says, you know, you have to be trained on our,
Well, what we'll do,
for the final bidder.
The way you use the term RFP is not the way I use it, so I've had to adjust. But what about the spec sheet? The spec sheet is where you wanna add things like, if you want training for the installers, that's where you put it. In the spec book.
I was going to say, the
Let's-
spec sheets
let's
for
make sure
that
it's what
fiber
you
should have
want.
been included with our estimates.
It was, all these spec sheets were included with the estimates. But that doesn't mean we're requiring them to be trained, so that's Terry's point.
Yeah,
Yeah, they'll want to be trained anyway. I know we're going to be getting phone calls
well,
because this product's not out there for everybody else to use.
Yeah.
And so, but that's where we'll do our job, making sure that contractor knows how to work on these products to make sure your
yeah.
project is a success.
Well, all we really gotta do is put in there, all installers have to follow manufacturer's guidelines, installation guidelines, instructions.
That's usually a standard, you know, there's a
Yeah,
standard
should be,
for
yeah.
direct bearing 144 armor, there's a standard for opening up a mid sheath, you know.
Yeah,
So it's a standard to have it as a standard.
yeah, exactly.
Weird.
Yeah,
Weird how that works.
everything's got a standard.
Well,
I brought some of this though so you could have it on hand, but we'll open up your bag of goodies out here too.
Okay, so, this one,
Mm-hmm.
the Starship Enterprise,
Right. These are fair. Do we have questions on anything? You guys ask questions, and I don't want to move on from one thing unless.
yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah, we're.
Okay.
Like you've got them in all, they have no words.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the reason why, but okay.
That and your drawings.
Oh, the drawing. I tell you what, the light went on for me too.
It's a band thing, you know, they don't follow directions without pictures.
I feel like I'm getting beat up here.
No,
That's the way I am.
It's true. You want to see something, you don't want to hear it.
No. I grew up-
I've got this little guy in here because it's a drop repair splice. We haven't talked about drops yet, but we'll get to that point. That little guy is only capable of 4 splices, but pretty cool little deal. So moving on to the OC 500 splice enclosure. It is all gel seal technology. Very simple to use. There's only one moving part in it, or only one bolt. So for your, I'm gonna just go up on the side here.
So what is it about your product that you can sell it at the discount that you sell it for? Well,
I didn't see the price on these. I don't know.
I mean, the whole, you have a price that's very competitive, but one of the main reasons we got drawn to RaDD is because of the handhold is a fraction of the price of what you used to paying. Is it the materials you used? Is it the way you why did you go this way in the industry?
It is the material and it is the manufacturing process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It's just
It's also the way our company is structured too. There's, we don't have all the different layers that a lot of companies and distributors might have. We've streamlined things. We design them. We don't hire firms to design them for us, which would add cost. And Michelle's very familiar with the manufacturing process. So we've been working with her for years. But now she's with us here. But I don't know, I guess that's the secret.
Yeah.
I don't know what the secret is, but we just have it very well streamlined. And maybe they just don't pay me enough. I don't know.
I was just going to say, but if you feel that bid is a bit low, we can add to it.
Sure.
I actually thought on the fiber, after reviewing it, I thought, boy, they're going to see this fiber price and think, this can't be any good. How could it be this good and only at that cost? But our manufacturing partners have mastered their trades. So, okay, so one bolt. This splicing is going to be, splice enclosures are going to be like probably a whole separate thing on their own. But I'm going to go through this real quick. This entire piece here is very efficient. There's just one bolt that goes through there. It's a standard 7/16, so a socket or a regular can wrench that every technician has in his pocket. Okay, so loosen that up, comes apart, take the dummy plugs out.
Chest piece.
Yeah. Your pawns, and then just split it apart. So that's the gel technology, and these are adaptable to 1 cable, 2 cables, 6 cables, depending on the size. And it just squeezes and conforms around any cable that's in there. I can't squeeze it tight
It's like a
enough.
rocks blocks. In our industry, in cabinets, you call it the maker of that's so good as rocks blocks. It just conforms down to the size of exactly what we need in the cabinet.
Get the bag of goodies out and show you how we adapt to different cables and different size cables, because you're going to have a standard, .69 or .71 diameter cable here, armored on the bottom, the main mid sheath here, and then you're going to have your 24s, 48s, and possibly a couple of drops coming out of this case. And so it's adaptable to every cable, all the cables that you're going to have in your network. And so we have these little adapter plugs that will go in here. Let me just split it apart. Let's say we have 4 drops there and maybe a couple of laterals in that one. And there you could have four cables coming out of that one, 2 out of here, 3 out of that one, and maybe 1 here, and I just put a dummy stick in to plug it up. So
How many of those adapters come in the package?
I'd have to count, and that's assuming I didn't lose any along the umpteen shows I've done. Yeah, well, actually what's going to happen, they're not going to use them all.
Yeah.
The way your network is, from what I've seen, you might have, and especially in a rural setting, you might have, I think it'd be a bigger issue if you were in a densely populated residential area, but then I have other plugs that I can put in there. The kits you're going to be getting are going to be geared directly towards the type of application you're going to have.
Okay.
So a couple of 3s, a couple of 2s, and a couple of 4s is what you'll get. So 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. That's what I'm going with. It adds up, actually. And then you'll have the dummy sticks in there. The The trays are very similar to a CommScope tray. Same kind of concept where the splice holders just kind of snap in. So this is a single fuse splice holder. This is a ribbon splice holder or a ribbon sleeve holder. And they can both, they're interchangeable in the tray. So you're not locked into one style of tray or the other. The tray could have only one style or it can have both in there. The 1x32 splitter will fit into this tray as well and still have, so it'll take up one slot here. All the tails will come up and you'll still be able to splice 33 single fuse splices. That's a 1x32 plus the feed. So very much ample capacity. So that's the tray. Let me just fold this up. On the bottom, you have your typical slack basket for your 144 count buffers that are going to be stored in here. You'll have one buffer that comes up into the tray to feed the 1x32 split, and then you'll have your 24s or 48s that come in and splice onto that 1x32 split and head back out to feed the homes. So there's also an optional flex basket. So you can keep your laterals, your 24s and 48s and drops separated from the main mid sheath. And the advantage of that is, what makes it really neat and the splicers like it, is you don't risk accidentally routing one of the laterals through the main loop of the mid sheath, which would lock it in and gets things really complicated. So it keeps everything separate. I have my distribution and main backbone separated. That's one of the advantages of this. These are just strength member tie down points. They're all adjustable to however you need them, and lots of different points where you can attach them on there. I have an animated video that I'm going to share, and I may have already done it. I think I shared it with Bob and Donnie, but I'll share it with you as well. So to put that back in there, very simply, I'm just going to only go in one way. So. Tightens up just like that. My bench clamp. One thing I want to show you on these are really cool. Another little added feature. It's got a wedge stop in here you can put in and keeps your trays from falling on top of each other as you're working on them. Splicers will like that. And then this is our bench clamp. So in the splice trailer, this is just a little optional thing, and I'll talk to we'll work with the contractor to get these. They're only like 38 bucks, so they're not a huge investment. The only thing I don't have in there is these little wedges, but they'll have this mounted in their trailer. This locks that splice case in there, holds it securely while they're working on it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Versus rolling around in the trailer, yeah.
Yeah, and they're always, you're in there with a clamp trying to get the cables clamped down just right, and there's always a little bit of memory in the cable. This locks it down. Doesn't matter what the cables are doing out there. If somebody trips over and yanks on them, everything is secured right here and locked into place. So those are kind of the high-level features, without going into specifics. There's nothing that unique about this that requires retraining on anybody. The amount of cable that opens up is almost identical to the CommScope B case. So, and splicers may have, I like 120 inches. Well, another guy might like 96 inches. He might have his own preference. So the large slack area allows for that variance. If they want to open up a little less fiber, they're going to have a tighter slack loop in the basket. If they like more, they're gonna end up with a bigger one. So it's very adaptable questions.
That basket handles the 24 and 48s.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. The flex basket on top
Yeah.
there. Yeah. It's an optional. It just screws in 2 little screws and it's in there. If not, it works just the same. It's just everything is down in that slack, the main slack storage underneath. Yeah.
Okay.
One other key feature about our case here, this ring on the collar is embedded in there, so it's not removable, and it reduces the risk of getting a bad seal, and it removes human error of having to install it. You know, did they install it right? Did they grease it right? You know, did they get it crossed up and then put the lid on and smash it on? Now it's not sealed, so it takes out you know, the risk of getting it wrong.
We have 4 minutes till our call
Okay.
with Fibersmith. So I just want to just maybe take a break, let everybody, I don't know, breathe, get water, get bathroom break or whatever, and then we'll get on the phone with them to ask them about the bomb, why they put correct connectorized drop box on there, and then cover why this larger, just ask.
I think it was just a part number that got copied and pasted.
Just fine, we just want to put it,
Yeah.
we just want to get it right.
Exactly.
And then ask them about the larger.
Well, but it also
Just put the
ties
part number on
in,
there.
it ties into, okay, drop fiber. Haven't even talked about that yet. All right, is that going in duct? Is that being direct buried? Is it connectorized? Or is it all going to be direct spliced into these closures?
Right.
They're capable of doing either. That's the cool thing about it.
Right, let's just make sure we have that plan, because I believe we know the answer to that, but I want them to answer it with you on the call.
Well, and I also want to get prepared for, I want to make sure I have the stock that you need. Now, you might be 6, 7, 8 months before you start running drops to houses.
Yeah,
But-
we're hoping by, November, December,
Okay.
January.
Yeah. All right.
Mike, do you
So
have a spec for testing protocols
I do have a document that got
post installation?
I haven't read through the whole thing, so I got it just before we drove over here.
Okay.
But I have it. I'm going to forward it on to you
Okay.
guys for you to look at.
Great.
It's about a 3-page document. So but I didn't read through all of it. I kind of read some of the titles of some of the
Right.
sections. And
But
stuff.
it stipulates how to test and what your
It's
test
typically standard
criteria
for
should
that.
result
And
in.
we're working in it.
Yeah, if you're going to be on your laptop, I think I'll just.
Yeah.
Do you want me to get in the background over there?